Howdy people, I'm doing a live today about weather warfare. So we're looking at a couple of things here. We're looking at the standard, we all get blamed for climate change, that kind of thing. It's the cows farting and, our cars. Even though I think, a single volcano adds up to about 100 years of that, in a day. But not to worry about the facts. So I'm going to play a few videos. I'll probably turn the audio off them. Don't need the loud stuff. So yeah, I'm going to run some slides and videos in the background here and cover a few things. I'm in Australia, so some of this will be covering like the floods in Texas and wherever. I think America's had 4 different 1 in 1,000 year floods in the last 3 to 4 days. So I don't know, if you add up the odds, so it's supposed to be 1 in 1,000 years, and when you get 4 of them in a week, I think you're starting to look at like, this isn't a coincidence. It's not possible to be a coincidence anymore. Just due to the fact of the figures. So that's a 1 in a 4,000 year chance, but it actually works out a lot more than that if you broke it down into actual figures. So I think I didn't really follow the original floods in America. Again, I'm in Australia. I saw a little bit on the news and a few sites that I look at, but there wasn't a wealth of information around it that I was focused on. It's again not my country, and crazy shit happens in America every single day. So it's a big place, and lots going on. So unsurprised by it. So I think the video will start off with basically a bit of footage in the background there, and all footage is credited to whoever it came from. If there's tags on the screen or whatever, I'll try to give them credit for it. It's only used for educational and commentary purposes, and I don't use lots of it. And too hard to get permission from everyone officially when you're trying to do a live, but I know legally this is fine. And whatever, so because YouTube and whatnot are cracking down on sharing people's content or whatever, which is fair enough, and they're also cracking down on AI soon, which is good. But anyway, that's off topic. So anyone from America or anywhere that's been flooded, throw your comments in. More than interested in seeing what people are up to and what's been going on in your area. I know in Australia we had massive floods in Queensland recently, which has made all the food prices go up for, mainly tropical kind of food and whatnot. But it usually affects tomatoes and everything as well. Even though they're hydroponically grown, it still interrupts all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's, like inflation wasn't bad enough. Now we got soaring food prices, due to flooding everywhere. And usually just by chance too, the floods are in areas where they grow all the food belts, the base of valleys, obviously, where the rivers flow down from the hills, and they can pick up some serious speed, obviously. So I think in the last year there's been just, to my count, huge amounts of flooding. And again, WEF and everyone else keeps screaming at us that we're the problem, the useless eaters are the problem here, apparently. Not so sure about that. It's there's a million other things going on. And like I said, natural disasters like a couple of volcanoes going off, which are at the moment. We've got a fair few volcanoes starting to pump up around the world. Actually did a few prophecy videos this month about 2 Asian, one was a prophet, one draw cartoons, and they were both saying that July 2025 is going to be a year of massive earthquakes and causing massive tsunamis, tidal waves all over the place. So it should be an interesting month, and it's already started off. What are we, the 10th in Australia today, so the 9th in America and everywhere else. It's already started off being pretty hectic, and the year kind of started off a bit quiet, but it's picking up pace. So halfway through the year we're looking at a lot of disasters going on, a lot of natural disasters going on, and the possibility of some really serious ones coming at us, and which Going off the few videos I did about the prophets, that's going to be, one of them said the 31st of July will be a massive one, but looking around, they're getting swarms of earthquakes popping off through the bottom of Japan at the moment. Again, I covered that in another few videos, and yesterday I was just updating myself on what's actually going on, because I always get comments like, one of the women was like, the 5th of July there'll be a big earthquake and a tsunami or whatever. And I always get the comments, oh, it didn't happen, and like, it wasn't going to be the 5th. I just, and again, it's not my info. I'm just the relay between the things that I read and putting it out there to other people. So everyone always goes off tangent into saying that I'm wrong. Well, I don't say any of this stuff. I just document stuff that's happening around me, and yeah, that's how it works. So don't kill the messenger. That's the general deal. So I can see, probably due to my title, I'm not getting any notifications sent out, which is pretty typical. So I see that Facebook hasn't sent out any notifications, nor has YouTube. So as soon as you write something like this in a description, you pretty much, you get banned. But I really don't care. I want the information out there, and I'll do what I want, and so be it. And I do find live's the easiest way to relay information. If I just did this as a video, it'll get no views. It just gets thrown in the bin. And I kind of get why, but at the same time, it'd be kind of nice if we were able to talk. And if other people don't agree with me, that's fine. I don't agree with them, and we'd all get along better. But at the moment, the world's being AI'd to death, and with censorship and whatnot, and it's been going on for about 5 years now. Since the good old 2020 seems to be the when they started clamping down on lives and everything else. But it's always a bit nicer of them if they throw out my notifications, so I can start a live with people actually watching instead of me sitting here talking to myself, because no notifications ever get sent out. And if I did one on how great it is to be, I don't know, a corporate Mongol, well, that one, the notifications would instantly be sent out and you'd all have the information. But anyway, enough whinging about censor stuff. So the flooding in Texas is weird, because Colorado and a couple of other places all have the same deal going on this week. 1 in 1,000 year floods are rare. Well, they're supposed to be rare. And again, the new normal, this isn't the cows farting that's doing this stuff. There's no bloody way. So I'm going to run through some pretty in-depth information. Some of it I haven't really referenced because it's too hard to reference some of it. But a lot of the sources are even Wikipedia and stuff. Because I know, looking around, I might just drop my volume a bit. It looks like it's peaking. I know looking around that, you'd think, people who talk about chemtrails, they're all conspiracy theorists. Like, I've been on a few websites for many decades now, and chemtrails was always a touchy point. People are like, oh no, what a load of bullshit, it's just contrails, it's the moisture in the air and the heat from the jets, blah blah blah. Look, 90% of the time, 100% right. That's what planes do. They're at 22,000 feet, there's heat, fuel, oxygen and water vapor coming out of the back of those jets, and they'll make contrails. But contrails are normal, and I'm not saying they're good. The amount of planes, you go and look up how many planes are in flight all the time. It's insanity. I don't know how many people can first afford to fly around or what they're doing flying around. We've got like the internet now. You could pretty much do business like I'm doing it now. Talk to a bloody computer. You don't have to fly around the world. But anyway, people like flying around the world. And I couldn't imagine the amount of pollution that's set at high levels. Like cows farting are on the ground, all right? So nothing's going up into the atmosphere. Most of everything hits the ground, because most of everything, including aerosols, which we were always told the CFCs were the problem for climate change, they're heavier than oxygen and air. So they go to the ground, they roll around on the ground, they don't go into the atmosphere. So the amount of BS that everyone's been fed and still believe is just phenomenal. But that's what they call the news, and it's called programming because it's on TV, and that's how it works. But going back to the planes thing, I reckon that planes would do heaps more damage than anything else, because they're high atmosphere already. So they're flying at 22,000 feet, 4 massive engines or more, dumping heaps of crap into the upper atmosphere. and heat rises, and the upper atmosphere, like 22,000 feet, if you're sitting on a plane, you're looking at like minus 20, and these jets have got these red hot turbines spinning. So obviously that pollution is rising when it's up there in the cold. When it's down here, say in Australia, a cow farting's coming out at 30 degrees. Well, our common temperature on farms is probably 40. So the cow fart's not rising. There's no bloody way it's rising. You know, and the sun's probably killing anything in it in a second anyway with the UV and whatever. So I'm just not into climate change. I was never into climate change, and I don't believe things like that just due to the people pushing it. The people who've been pushing climate change, Bill Gates, the WF, all these tools, like as soon as they open their mouth, it's either a lie or it's propaganda. And I still can't believe people look up to these assholes. Like, what's with it? Like, because they're a billionaire, people just, oh, wow, must be smart. No, mate, most of them are handed the job, just like most famous YouTubers. They're handed these jobs. The whole thing's like MKR Ultra at the end of the day. All right, getting back to the flood things. I'll just run a bit of video here in the background. So the video on screen now is Texas, 3 days ago now. Now, the rain that dropped came to a very isolated area, so most people in Texas wouldn't have even seen the clouds. So somehow it was dropping like 7 inches of rain, which is like close to 20 centimetres in my measurements, in 3 hours, and 100 mils of that, or 4 inches of that in 1 hour. So that's pretty phenomenal. And to drop that in a hill, it's not unheard of. It'll happen, but you know, that's some serious water coming out of the sky. And so localised is a little bit more, you know, that's a bit weird. But as you'll see, there's a reason for this, and it's totally weather warfare. And people were paid hundreds of thousands of dollars, or they made hundreds of thousands of dollars out of this event, which killed people, wrecked land, probably destroyed a lot of good farming land, roads, infrastructure, all destroyed. Yet someone made $100,000 and he's only 25. He owns the company that did this, and they admitted it. It's all now coming out. It will be coming out through the media, because in the back end I'm seeing it and I'm reading it, and this can be referenced and fact checked, and it's true. And I think the worst part is this 25-year-old again handed the job as if he just like learnt all this stuff himself. At 25, runs a $1 billion company. What a load of bullshit! A total. And the weirdest part of this is the companies involved with him, from Clinton Global to a few others. So I'll just get this show rolling, and so here in the background you can see this is Texas, and again, credit to whoever filmed this. I can't see their name anywhere or whatever, and again, I'm only using this for educational commentary purposes, so there's no copyright dramas with it. But my screen's a little bit blown out. I don't know why when I was doing this my screen decided to blow out a bit white, which is annoying, and I don't want to stuff with stuff once I'm doing a live, because I'll probably shut the whole thing down. But you get the idea. Like, that was a trickle, an absolute little trickle. Just take it back to the beginning, because I'm talking too much. All right, that's a normal creek at the moment. You can see the first wave appearing. That little wave coming through, and if I saw that and I was down at the creek, like when I was a kid I was always down at a creek, I'd go, oh yeah, but I wouldn't expect it to come up more than maybe, another 20 centimetres. But then, this is within a minute. Look at that. Look at that shit coming at you. Now, if you're downstream camping or, playing in the creek like we used to as kids, you wouldn't have got out of the way of this. There's no way. Like, already within, what are we into? We're into 30 seconds, not even a minute. And look at it. This thing is flipping big rocks off the bottom of this bed. There goes a big rock, and it's lifting up heavy crap. Like, water cannot be stopped. You can dam it, but that's not really stopping it. If anything goes wrong, water has the most power. It's just an amazing liquid, It's what it can do is incredible. The amount of shit that it can move. Now, I've jumped forward in the video now, so my little thing here, the weather thing's a bit in the way, but I can't be bothered moving it. So I've jumped forward into about the 4-minute mark. So this is now a 4-minute mark. Now it's picked up everything. Everything on that mountain's coming down with it. So, now we're at the, if I can see through that, we're about the 5-minute mark. So this guy's stood on the same bridge the whole time. I personally wouldn't be standing on that bridge, and cars are still driving across it. So that's pretty crazy in my books. Look at them. No, don't worry about it. Just drive across that. I think I'd be going back home, unless you're evacuating, which is fair enough. Get the hell off that thing, as quick as possible. So now we're into about 6-minute mark. And, this is getting pretty serious. In 6 minutes, you would not have any time. If you're in a house and, you're on low-lying areas, this thing was chewing up the banks. You remember from the original bit, it was a little creek. This was a tiny creek, maybe 30 metres across, and it had a trickle in it. There was almost a dry creek. Because Texas, from the beginning of July, had been put into drought. It was 29% of Texas was in drought. So we've gone from 29% of Texas to this, where houses are flying. Like, there could be people still in that. You wouldn't have had time to do anything. Now, very unusual to, to have something coming at you like this with that kind of speed is pretty phenomenal. Like, I've seen flash floods, but again, not to this scale. And the difference here is that I don't believe this is natural. Again, my opinion only, but this ain't natural. This is not normal at all. And being so localised is very suspicious. So we're going to go into now, like, the people involved, the people making money out of it. So here we go. Let's get this done. So we've got Rainmaker CEO. This guy's 25. He's 25. So good old Augustus. He made $100,000 out of doing this. And they admitted that they sprayed the air with drones and whatever else 2 days before the Texas flood. This isn't a coincidence yet. He's claiming it's a coincidence. All right. There are no coincidences. I can tell you, plain as day, there are no coincidences. That word should not even exist anymore, because someone is always responsible when shit goes wrong. Like, look at this clown. All right, I'm going to get rid of some stuff. That title's getting in the way. Get rid of that. All right, so, and there'll be no investigation. No one will be held responsible. The 25-year-old who owns this company, I don't know how that works, he'll get to keep the $100,000 that he was paid by the government to cloud seed in Texas. All right, so obviously with cloud seeding, you take it from somewhere. So someone else is going into drought for this happening too. So there you go, federal agencies paid private cloud seeding company just 2 days before the floods killed 60 plus people. Yep, no comment, no oversight, no accountability. And they will. The media will go, oh, it's a conspiracy. No, it just rained. No worries. It's normal. 1 in 1,000 year floods are normal, are they? Yeah, and they're probably it's probably more than 1 in 1,000 years, because we haven't kept data on weather for 1,000 years. So where do they even pull that shit out of their ass? I don't know. Like, we probably got weather for 100 years. That'd be it. So to even be, it's coming out your ass when you start making up 1,000 year, million year floods. We wouldn't have a clue. Here's the guy, little mullet boy here. So we got mullet boy. He's 25 and owns a company. Yeah, that wasn't a setup, not at all. And and the funny thing is, who his partners is, like the other guy on the screen there, he's more interesting than the mullet boy. Mullet boy's just an actor. He's probably paid a couple $100,000 a year to stand in front of cameras pretending he's some genius, and everyone should look up to this young fella, who manipulates weather and gets paid handsomely. Like a day job, he got $100,000. Not bad money. Not bad money at all. Maybe I should start a cloud seeding company. I think it's actually a good idea. I might as well. Everyone else is doing it. Why not cash in? Yep. It's clown world. It just blows my mind. And no one will talk about this. No one will be upset. Even the families of the dead people, 60 plus dead people, no one's going to come after him. No one's going to ask the government what the fuck's going on now. No one. People are just, I don't know, they're asleep. Or I actually reckon 90% of people are NPCs, and this is why this shit happens. There's about 10% of the people get angry, and 10% can't do shit. You're just told you're an idiot, you're a conspiracy theorist. This shit's documented. Like, if main media would still say it's a conspiracy. Look, here's another clown. So we've got Mullet Boy, Clinton Global. Like, Clinton Global. Another person, just like Bill Gates, too much money, asshole from way back, and everyone looks up to him. Why? Look at this fool. So he's involved. So Bill Clinton's, it's a pleasure meeting the guy who drowned all those people in Texas. Yeah, Good guy. He's the good guy, is he? All right. Don't worry about, like the whole world starving to death and basic human rights. These clowns are running around doing this, circle jerk bullshit that they do all day long. And the guy having a mullet, he looks like Joe Dirt. It's in your face. It really is. The whole thing just gets bloody ridiculous. All right, so we'll move on. Right, some of these are a bit text wally, I know, but if we chew through it quickly, we've got that they were cloud seeding on the 2nd of July. Blah blah. Yeah, according to the company, they did it 2 days before. He received $100,000. And they always receive it from a fellowship or a charity kind of thing, like the Clintons and Bill Gates. They run all their businesses through things called charities, which are just themselves. They're basically paying themselves their own money, and then they'll get tax breaks on that. It's insane. But again, no one cares. You look up to these mugs. Everyone's like, oh yeah, smart guy. Ugh. But I have no faith that anyone's ever going to wake up. Within the last 5 years, seeing what they do to people, and no one's reacting. No one. Even people heavily affected by what goes on out there. No, I'll just sit at home and, complain to myself. Good one. So until people get a set of balls, this shit's just going to continue. And like, I know 2025 is going to be a pretty hard year for most people. If you're thinking economically it's pretty shit now, you just wait. I put my money on September. They always use September to do stuff. All the things that are done are pretty much planned to dates and events, and a lot of it goes back to pagan stuff and all that kind of stuff. These are rituals, It's like sacrifice rituals half the time. So here's the company. See this down the bottom here, let that sink in. This is why the billionaire funding the private experiments. This company, how would you say that? Plantaner? Yeah. If anyone knows how to say that, that'd be handy, but I don't. But so anyway, this Plantner company is a $300 billion company that basically spies on everyone in America and all over the world. So we'll get into that a little bit later. So it doesn't really matter at the moment. But they're behind funding the 25-year-old, all right, through their fellowship fundings, which is like unbelievable. So it's all here in writing, and I can give 100 references that this is legit. It'll be out in the news, and they'll put it through the news because the literally evil has to tell you what they're doing. It's a part of their job. They've got to let us know what they're up to. Otherwise, they can't do it. It's some weird Masonic law, probably comes from the old Rome church and all the different people who still have a lot of control but are in the back end. So there's the shot again of it starting. That's unbelievable. That little tiny creek was dry pretty much because Texas is supposed to be in a drought. So they fly some drones around, pay the mullet boy $100,000. This happens 2 days later. Look at that. That's 4 minutes into the footage. That little tiny creek. You'd have no chance. No chance if you're on low-lying land. And of course, low-lying land's the most fertile and the best. So that's where you farm. That's where you try to live near. But with a 1 in 1,000 year flood, your house would be allowed to be in that area. Again, because they don't keep data for 1,000 years. What a load of bullshit. They've kept data for 80, 100 years on weather. And even that, if it's not suiting the climate change agenda, they'll just manipulate it. That's the deal. It's the deal. But that's phenomenal. That's a pretty full-on flood. From that little creek to this shit, that's hell scary. And again, unless you're evacuating, I wouldn't be driving on that bridge. You're foolish. But, I guarantee there'll be bodies in there. Guaranteed. There'd have to be. Here comes a house. They're just relocating, getting a bit closer to the, the waterfront while this is all going on. Why not? Park it over here. Good spot. Shady. By the river. That'll do. Could be people in that bloody thing. The speed that this stuff comes at is phenomenal. I've also seen China getting screwed. They've had some of the worst floods. They had a dam breakage that I was watching about a week ago. About 2 weeks before that, there was another one. So here's the start of it again. Again, this is someone else's video. I didn't take this. I'm in Australia, but I only use snippets of the video just for educational purposes. And look at that creek bed. It's almost dry. Like it pretty much is dry. You could just walk across that and you'd hardly get wet feet. 10 seconds later, you got like, you know, some pretty heavy water coming down. And then within 30 seconds, it's like probably 5 meters deep in that one area. That's pretty phenomenal. And it's not natural, as you can see through all the different clips I'll show. And it does get my goat a bit that talking about, you know, chemtrails and that kind of thing, for years I was called a donkey because, you know, I said, well, I see them. I live near an Air Force base in Australia, very close to one. And the planes that the Air Force use are paid privately to spray the farmers' crops in the area. So their planes have the capacity to spray shit all over the place. And we often get long, you know, really long streaks in the sky when they've been buggerizing around with their bigger planes. Most of the time, the planes over my head are just little. All right, this is going into the company I was talking about. So I'll just see if we can go back a little bit. All right, that was the house. All right, so that's like a weather pattern thing there. You can see the red and the purple. That's some serious shit. Like you shouldn't be seeing purple on any chart. That's popping off the top of the chart. All right, so this is about the company who funded the 25-year-old mullet boy, $300 billion surveillance company. And look, if I say the word Trump or Biden or anyone, don't get me wrong. I'm an Aussie and I hate our politicians and I ignore it. I do my best to ignore these actors. So if I'm talking about Trump or Biden, I have no side. They're all clowns and they're all actors. And if you follow any of them and passionately believe in it, you're a git, all right? You're an NPC, you're brainwashed idiot. Just ignore these motherfuckers and they'll go away. Stop giving them the power they need to operate. So you can see here, CIA can't operate without this company, the one involved with giving mullet boys $100,000 to spray Texas. Pentagon can't function without it. Wall Street can't trade without it. But no one knows even who this company is. And probably owned by Vanguard, BlackRock, that kind of thing. It's probably the deal. So, you know, these, again, are not coincidences. And in America, they've had 4 different counties have 1 in 1,000-year floods this week. So Texas wasn't the only one. It's the one everyone is talking about because of the news. All right, so once an event happens like that, like, you know, once one war starts, if 3 more start in the same week, it's first in, best dressed. Everyone's brains are so small now that, you know, they're fluoride to death, so they literally can't concentrate on more than one thing. So the media just picks up on Texas. That's all you're going to hear about. But it's happening in Colorado. It's happening all over the place. You know, it is just what it is. So, well, that slide's a little bit more full on. I'm not going to really explain any of that, but it's the normal clowns, all connected to everything. It's all the same stuff. It all goes back to the same kind of demonic shit that they do. And again, they've got to tell you what they're going to do. That's why all this stuff happens, you know. Now, here's another clown. Again, I'm not politically aligned to anything, especially not in America. God, I just wish that place didn't exist half the time with the amount of bullshit that goes on, you know. Out. You know, but dues will be paid. All right, so, well, you got, you know, again, I'm not a Trumper and I'm not a Biden person. So don't talk politics on any of my shit. I'm not interested. So, yeah, so Trump's doing it. He's basically, you know, giving more funding to those companies to basically watch everything you do, you know, doing a live like this. Or these kind of people who operate this shit, they're probably watching me now. I'm like, good on them. You might learn something. You might go and get a real job. Mullet boy again, 25-year-old, runs this big company. Pfft, yeah, right. Hilarious. So this is about that company that we're talking about. I'm actually not going to say their name too much because that will probably get me flagged. But you can see on screen what I'm talking about. You can probably read that, even though it's a little bit washed out. So this is all kind of current, what's going on. This company is not a new company. And it's in control of some of the best AI, basically. So it's monitoring every phone call, everything you do. You know, these are the things that just monitor your phone through that Facebook could sell all their data to as well. Like, because I think a lot of people wonder, like, oh, who's Facebook selling all their data to? Who's YouTube selling all their data to? Well, it's companies like this. They feed the AI. So YouTube and Facebook and all that shit that listens to your conversations, even when you're not on their platform, Oh shit! I probably should turn the sound on for this one. This is interesting. This is the guy who runs the company. I don't want to turn sound on because it's just too annoying. But he's being interviewed and he's being asked about the human race. How will it endure? This is the guy who runs that $300 billion surveillance company. He kind of looks like a freak as well, you know. I'm not going to... I'll joke and say he's a reptilian like everyone used to pick on the Facebook do. But this guy looks... I shouldn't pick on his looks because I'm pretty ugly too. But he's hesitating. He won't even answer the question. You know, he basically just said that, nah, we're not going to survive. And he laughs and whatever. So, you know, there's just... It kind of blows my mind, really. But at the end of the day, yeah, everything's being used to basically monitor you. This company, the one I just pointed to, is the main player. Worth $300 billion, which is just phenomenal for people who just basically are spying on us without our permission. Although you do, like, nothing is free. This is the trick. Like, when you sign up to Facebook, YouTube, all this shit, none of it's free. I would actually rather pay a subscription. Not that I'd use Facebook because it's dog shit, but I'd rather pay a subscription to social networks for them to have the money to run than them sell all my data and listen to my phone conversations and just background conversations. But, you know, because nothing's free. But everyone just, oh, well, yeah, the latest bloody Blue Sky or whatever garbage. It's all just made to spy on you. That's how they make their money. And they sell it to companies like this. So you can see initially funded. I'll just stop here for a sec. So you can see, you know, they're initially funded back in the old days by the CIA. They gave them $2 million and they turned that into $300 billion by using your data. But no one cares about that. They're like the standard response. I don't do anything wrong, so I don't have to worry. Really? We'll see how that works out for you all. Just keep your head in the sand. I'm sure nothing will happen. Nothing bad. All right. Again, it all goes back to BlackRock, Vanguard, Morgan Stanley. It's the same guys, you know. It's always the same guys. And the worst part is all this shit is paid by our money. The government doesn't own any money. We give them, well, we volunteer our money through taxes and whatnot, levies and whatever else they're trying to slap on you and pretend it's not a tax. It's all the same. It's a tax. We end up paying for these assholes to be spraying poison over our heads all day. And that's the worst part. Is people like, oh, what can I do about it? There's a couple of things you should all be start doing, like bartering. Get out of this bullshit system. Like, the whole thing's going to collapse. And I reckon by September would be my guess. It's not going to, like, collapse in a day or anything. But 1929, if you know your history, which is what you all should know, 1929 happened pretty bloody quick. But anyone with half a brain could see it happening. So I'm going to put down, my intuition says September is going to be rough. So prepare yourselves. And I'm not trying to be doomy. I'm just saying, literally, like I used to play the markets and crypto and all that shit. I've done all that. So I can sort of see what's going on. Like, you know, there's a falling wedge at the moment with Bitcoin. I don't even have Bitcoin anymore. I don't even give a shit about it because I don't want to play with clown ward money. Like, that's just dog shit as far as I'm concerned. And I was in it in 2012, 2013. In 2014, I made my own coin and I was worth $12 million back then in Bitcoin for my coin. And, you know, the whole thing got hacked and all the fun shit that happens with crypto and whatever. And I don't regret any of it because I learnt a lot. And I learnt that digital currency is a control mechanism and it's not decentralized and it's not safe and it's nothing. It's going to be used against everyone to get you used to CBDCs. They want to put digital currencies in, and Trump's doing it at the moment. Again, I don't give a shit whether it's Biden or Trump. They're both the same people. They work for the same players. They're actors. Yeah, the real people who do all this shit in the background, you'll never know their name, and their families have been around for millennia. They're all Jesuits and Masons and all the other fucking clown world people. So, you know, this 25-year-old mullet boy, he gets funded by all these people, just out of the blue. He had a good idea. Cloud seeding is not new. Again, everyone used to say it was conspiracy, but this shit ain't new. Like, I'll show you in a minute. This goes back to 1940. They started doing this shit in 1940 and totally denied it. You know, yet there's thousands of patents for it all. You know, you can see in the background, I'm just rolling through, like, these are all the different places who have been doing cloud seeding. Like, I'm in Australia, and I reckon Australia is just the testing ground for most of the bullshit they're going to push on the rest of the world. We're like some little island they can test shit on. Of course, we've been doing it, one of the first people to do it. CSIRO is an Australian kind of, the science, they call themselves scientists. I don't know about that. They make a lot of dodgy shit. They made some good shit, but it all goes back to controlling you. CSIRO in Australia made Wi-Fi, and they gave it to the world for free. So the Australian taxpayers invented Wi-Fi, and we gave it to you all free. Bullshit we did. There's a reason it's free, because nothing's free. Of course it was going to be used for the internet and expand it and more control. They can watch you everywhere. Like, I know I sound off track at the moment, but this all links back to what's going on. And you'll see why what I'm talking about isn't just about a flood, and it's not just about, a single event or a single company or Mullet Boy or Trump. It's not about that. This has been going on for a long bloody time. And it's high time people gave a shit. Instead of just like shrugging their shoulders, oh, what can I do? Yeah. You should be pissed off. Like, and then to constantly blame the normal citizen or stakeholders, as you're now known. You're not even a citizen anymore. You're a stakeholder. You're basically a useless eaters. So you've been told that to your face. And again, everyone's like, I respect that swabby guy. He's a good guy. Yeah, he's going to fix shit. Yeah, good one. Good one. But, it's just phenomenal, and the denial is just massive. And, it's only very recent times that any media has started to come out and admitted that cloud seeding's been going on for a long time. And it went from final admitting it around 2020, just that funny year that always keeps coming up. Around that time, because they had to distract everyone and they had to pretend they're being truthful. So then they started admitting, there's a bit of cloud seeding goes on here and there. It's very rare. But it only just sort of started. And now it's like a common thing they talk about. They're just like, we're just cloud seeding. Bill Gates was off the Great Barrier Reef about 2 years ago with Queensland University cloud seeding the shit out of the place. No one cared. Then he dropped off some mozzies full of malaria or vaccines or whatever he did up north while he was hanging around. Who lets this guy into my country? I don't want him here. Our politicians and him can all get on the same plane and go back to Epstein Island and party over there for a while. Just go away. It's bloody ridiculous. So you can see all the funding, all the different states that they give. So we're talking like cloud seeding and chemtrails and all this shit. This is not small money. This is massive business. Like, it's a big business. The amount of millions that gets paid every year to each state or county or whatever. And no one seems to want to, talk about the real stuff. Like, if I'm cloud seeding, say, where I live, well, someone else is going to get really dry, aren't they? Because I stole all the rain. So we don't own the rain. No one should be allowed anywhere in any country to manipulate the weather and then to turn around and blame us and the cows farting. Piss off. Bloody ridiculous. So this is in Australia, more localised to where I am. I'm not in Tasmania, but you get the idea. Australia cloud seeding, again, we're like the test zone. We start a lot of this shit. We're responsible for a lot of this shit. And it doesn't surprise me because the biggest sheep in the world live in Australia. I'm telling you. I meet them every day. And, oh my God. Places like zombies asleep, just walking around bumping into each other. But they're all got big McMansions and that's all that matters. They've all got flashy cars and shit. We don't even produce anything. I don't even know how we've still got $10 in the bank. Oh, that's right. We don't. We're just in massive debt. We just keep borrowing money for the next generation to pay back. Obviously, they can't. So again, that's why there's going to be a reset. You've been told too, Schwabsy and everyone's been telling us there's a reset coming. Well, again, I'm not Mr. Doom. I'm really not. I don't give a shit. Like, I live my life. I'm quite satisfied with what I do. And I have a good time. So people just think, he's a lunatic getting on here. He's so angry. I'm not even angry. I couldn't even really give a shit. I'm just annoyed that people don't care. So that just annoys me. And I'm supposed to talk to these people and act like they're a human? Pfft, drones, man. I swear they're making them in a factory. If you want crazy shit, they must be making people in a factory nowadays. It's just, the world was very different when I grew up. And I'm an old bastard now. I'm 50-something. So I've seen a bit of shit, lived through all this shit, being called a conspiracy theorist every time I talk about pretty much what I consider facts, which, by the way, all came true. I've run out of conspiracies. Like, how's that? For someone who used to follow a lot of weird shit, again, I'm not really into conspiracies. I'm just into more the truth. Yep, off the coast of Sydney. Look at this. Date 1957. Shitty old photos just to prove how old it is. And that's when they were doing this article. They actually started it in like 1940. So, again, you know, everyone, oh, chemtrails, what a load of bullshit. Conspiracy people. There you go. It's all been written there. It was all in your face. There's the CSIRO mentioned. 1930s. It was a bit earlier than I thought. So, and 1940s, through to the 70s. And they were built by the Soviet Union and Japan. Interesting that we were buying technology from the Soviet Union. They're all on the same team. That's the thing with this shit. That's why nothing ever gets leaked. You know, that's why, like, you know, person X can say, I'm going to release these files, and lots of people are scared, and then they don't do it. Because everyone's an actor. They're all controlled. They're all being blackmailed. Anyone with any power is compromised. And it proves it because no one will come out and tell the truth. You see the occasional person. There's a few people on the stage at the moment having a little bit of a tanty against each other. Yeah, Orange Man and his little sidekick, and they're all having a little break-up, apparently. I don't believe a word of it. They're probably still best mates, and it's all just a game to make you think there's now division, and they just want to start another party because this one's probably screwed. They've kind of wrecked the Republicans. Maybe that was the whole plan. Who knows? But everyone agrees too much. So here we're into patents. Now, this is a bit washed out. I'm going to get to another one. I'll show you a better one. All right, here we go. Let's start with this one. All right, so these are US patents for cloud seeding. Look at the dates. Look how old some of these things are. You know, 1905, 1913. And there is no conspiracy. Like, this list is actually massive. And this is just US patents, all right? This is not like worldwide. So this is not China or anyone else. And the US is about 1,000 years behind China in the last decade. So I couldn't imagine Chinese patents for weather manipulation. And they're one of the leaders of it. The WF are proudly boasting that China's doing a great job manipulating the weather. Like, what the hell's going on? Like, there's no foresight, oversight, and no one's responsible for when it all goes wrong. That's okay, apparently. You know, if I walk down the street, you know, and cross the lights when I shouldn't have, coppers all over me, give me a ticket. I drive 3 kilometres over the speed limit. I got another ticket. I'm responsible. I'm held accountable for my action. These clowns are never. Like, who's gone to jail for the last 5 years of what's been going on? All of it. All the different things that are going on. None of them. None of them. Just little people. Some secretary might get thrown in jail because look at this list. This is insanity. Look at every year. There's like 10 patents, 5 to 10 patents being pulled for weather manipulation. Like, the patent office should have denied all these patents originally and said no. You know, but again, oh, it's climate change. Stop eating meat. The cows are farting. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah. Oh, your car. Yeah, your car did this. Yeah, right. Yeah. Not your private jets. They don't even make pollution, apparently. And your stupid fucking EVs. Oh, I can't stand that whole. How ridiculous. Can't even get rid of the batteries. They'll last 5 years. You got to replace them. You won't replace them. The car's not worth putting $50,000 battery back into. And the technology's there for batteries and stuff. Everything in this world could be a better place if people demanded it. And all you got to demand is, you know, responsibility of the people who are apparently in control of the power. And they need to be held accountable, but they're not. People just clap when they walk near them. Oh, look. Oh, there's that billionaire. Oh, great guy. You don't know. He's part of a club you're not in. So don't cheer these assholes. Just ignore them is about the best thing you can do. I'm still going, still scrolling climate patents for wrecking our weather, for manipulating our weather without ever asking us. And it gets worse because some of these patents, the chemicals in them are actually poisonous and they have been spraying them on us. And, you know, I'll pull up some of that in a minute. I'll just get through the patents first. This list just seems forever. We're only into 2011, all right? And this has been going for a minute or two. And these are all legit ones. And some of them are crazy. When you read some of the descriptions of what they're doing here, it's insane what they're doing. Like, every method possible that could fuck shit up, that's what they're doing. Like, smart seeding. Oh, yeah, right. I bet smart seeding. What else have we got? You know, it's just, I just can't, you know? And most of the time, the chemicals that they're using are trial chemicals. Like, Australia brought a system from Russia And the thing's never been tested anywhere. So we brought some weather manipulating machine, which is I think it's ionic, so it like heats up, microwaves the atmosphere and heats it up. Never been tested. Yeah, we'll buy that. Yeah. And apparently I thought Russia was the enemy, weren't they? Yeah. I don't know. It's kind of weird. We put all these sanctions on them, then we walk around buying shit from them that could really cause problems. Nah, that's okay. Don't worry about it. Nothing to see here. Don't worry about it. Worry about whatever junk's on TikTok or whatever, What's the latest craze, That's what people are worrying about. Better go and make an AI gorilla video, quick, and watch all of them. Anyway, I kind of get people wanting to be distracted from this bullshit and not wanting to know. But again, too many NPCs now, and it's backfiring against anyone who's got half a brain. Yeah, so we're just on to more cloud seeding, all the different people who do it, small, like the links that I'm showing you can't, some of them are like paywalls, which is really annoying. But the ones I could get to, are never that good. And anyone know what graphene oxide is? Do you know what a nanoparticle is? Because that shit ain't good. And they're just spraying that shit. Yeah, no problem. Untested shit. Don't know what's going to do when it gets in your lungs, or nano goes straight, through your skin. So it land on my bald old head. I'm basically ingesting it without even knowing. There's the patent. This is all legit stuff. Graphene oxide is not to be screwed around with. And it's also kind of like a base for making computer chips and nanotechnologies and stuff. So, I think that kind of technology is beyond most people's recognition. They probably think it's like a piece of carbon or something. Nah, it's a lot more advanced than people would understand. So some of these I'm just going to scroll through real quick, just see, what's going on here. This one's a bit boring, so we'll have a quick look at this one. Oh, here we go, PSYOPs. So the government admits, I think I'll get to the proper link instead of reading off here because, just bear with me. Just quickly read if this is going to make sense to what we're doing. Yes, I think it does make sense. So they're basically saying that when they cloud seed, if they use negative ions, it makes people more alert and exhilarated. And if they use positive ions, so when they're spraying the clouds, the shit they're spraying the clouds, it makes you drowsy and depressed. This is a study. So they know the shit they're spraying to manipulate the weather could really, cause problems for you. And they could make you all depressed. Maybe what they're doing at the moment, because most people I meet in the street, they're not real happy chappies anymore. They're just walking around grumpy. So what I got here? Yeah, I'll get back to that other one. I'll get that link open. It's spinning around. It's not really loading, so I don't know whether that's been scrubbed from the internet or not. And if it has, I'll go to Wayback Time Machine and I'll find it for you. So media just kind of, there's this is an old video actually. This is really old. So, all right, yeah, it makes sense. They're using old firecrackers full of crap to do, but even that. So that's 14 years ago. They were admitting in the media. I'll just scroll through this a bit. Don't want to get copyright striked. All right. So so that's the deal. 14 years ago, the media were talking about it, even though it was still a conspiracy if you ask governments or whatever. So this is the article I was trying to pull up. The site stopped spinning. So this is the one that they're saying that positive ions make you depressed and that negative ion spraying makes you exhilarated. So it looks a little bit too technical to be talking about, as in the fact that it would take hours to go through this because this is a proper study. But that's the conclusion for the study is, and look how easy it is to make this shit. It's like a carport and put some electric, copper all over it. And that'll ionise. So this isn't high tech even. Some of the ways they do this is really low tech. And this will affect your mood. So look at these. That looks like I made it. Look at these shitty structures. That looks like garbage. But it's manipulating weather and making you happy or sad. So pretty scary shit really, There's always more to everything. Well, that was pretty boring in the long run. But anyway. All right, so Spain here's admitting that they're part of a secret UN program. So, why is everything always a secret? We pay the tax. Shouldn't we be told what's going on or given a chance? Referendums need to come back into play. We need to start making decisions about everything, from weather manipulation to immigration to everything that's going on. We should have the say. We are the people. And until we wake up and get some power back and grow a set of balls, this is just going to get worse. I couldn't imagine 2030. Like, I really couldn't. I just don't know. It just seems insanity at the moment. The amount of bullshit that goes on. Yeah, so Spain was spraying people with stuff they knew was toxic without their permission. And guess when they did it? 2020. That 2020 year. Look, COVID, it even says it here. It even says it. Spraying it on their citizens. The UN authorisation. Who are they to authorise anything? In the health crisis situation of COVID-19. First time they'd done so. Apparently. Since it was a secret, who knows what they've been doing? You know, I'd find that concerning. Were there riots in the streets about it? No. Did anyone give a shit? No. No, the people in Spain are just like, oh, tastes good in the air today. What is that? Smells different. You know, this is, yeah, been going on for decades. Yet they claim they only started spraying really poisonous shit on us recently. UN, there's another bunch of clowns, aren't they? Are they helping anyone? I don't think so. They're a part of the problem. I can see Bill Gates' name mentioned here a few times. Bill Gates, 2018, 2010. He's heavily, he loves spraying shit at you. He loves putting stuff in your body. It's his primary focus, it seems. What a fucking clown. But again, everyone will just go, what are you going to do about it? Well, make a bit of noise, you know. And people say it to me all the time, well, what are you going to do about it then? Well, I'm sitting here doing something about it, aren't I? At least I'm fucking doing something. Fuck. It only takes a few others to do it. I'm not. No one knows who I am, so I don't matter. I'll get my door kicked in for doing whatever I do. But again, it's the truth. I'm not lying. Like, if I'm going to talk about something, I'll go, like this morning, didn't take me long to put all this together. It's all there. You just got to go looking. And it's all there. And I try to use the most reputable sources I can. I'm not just using tweets, because, like, 9 times out of 10, I go into Twitter off, you know, a lead I get. And most of the time it's total bullshit, or it's been twisted around in some, you know, it's always a narrative. Everyone on Twitter, I don't use Twitter. I don't find it very good because I find it so political. And there's always a narrative on that place, you know. But it does have breaking news. They like, when something happens, there seems to be people who are on Twitter just there every time. So this is cloud seeding in Wiki. So this is Wikipedia. Same deal, like denied chemtrails, denied all that forever until recently, till 2020. And then, but Wiki's had this information. If anyone wanted to go and look it up, but if you quote this stuff to people, like if you're like, but Wikipedia's had a page on it forever. It goes back to 1940. Bullshit. Like, well, why don't you look it up then? Instead of getting in a fight with me about it and arguing with me, you know, and I find most people too that I talk to just, they don't have an argument. They just say bullshit. Like, if you're going to respond to people who are having a conversation and get emotional or just say, bullshit, mate, that's a conspiracy. Again, clown world. Like, I have no respect. If you don't have a brain and you can't enter the conversation, the word bullshit is not making you look smart. It really isn't. Now, I admit I swear a bit, but I'm usually trying to make a point to emphasise something. And it's never to bring someone else down and say that they're wrong without any evidence that I have on the point, you know, standing there talking to them. I generally try to listen to people and take on what they said. And if it's interesting, I'll go and look it up. It's not that hard. But, you know, most people, I don't know, what are they going to go and do? They're going to do something else, look at the stock market all day or some shit. So Wiki's got a lot of info here. I'm not going to read too much of it out because there's actually too much. So we're only into 1979. CSIRO again, good old Australia, always involved with the stupid shit. Always up to no good, it seems. And again, I don't follow politics. I try to ignore them, so I don't really care what they're doing. I don't turn on the news. I don't watch that shit. Always get your own information from your own sources, and then you've got to fact check it without using their fact checkers because they just deny everything. If I type this into a fact checker, it would literally say, nah, mate. And then it would try to align me politically with some party. It's just whatever. So you can see every country in the world basically does it, you know, and they've all done it from about 1940s. I'm just going to get off camera for 1 sec so I don't get flagged. I just got to do something. Bear with me. Read that shit for a sec. Yeah, Sri Lanka, Vietnam, United States, of course, United States, Canada, of course. It's like the Five Eyes, Europe, Australia, Canada, all those silly people, always up to no good. Germany, Austria, everyone else, United Kingdom. Oh, Australia, look, Australia gets a big showing again. God. Yeah, good old Australia. Always up to something dumb. Always funding everything. Always the test ground, it seems. I do feel like I'm living in a place like there used to be lots of memes that Australia's not real. I'm starting to believe that, even though I live here. Seems like clown world. All right, so that's that. We're up to the WEF saying that they're proud of China for clouding the world in chemtrails and shit. Look at that stuff. Ugh. And they're the things people say, no, they don't do that. That's just contrail. Don't worry about it. All right, gotcha. Yeah, so WF happy with that. 55 billion tonnes of fake rain every year. Yeah, that won't affect the climate for everyone else. No, I'm sure that's safe and effective. Hear those words too often. Yep. Oh, we got Biden the clown. He can't even talk. Look at that. Look what he said. How ridiculous. Bloody idiot. And this guy runs the world. And now look at the guy running the world. Fuck. Seriously. That's what's going on. Anyway, I hate politics. I don't normally focus on them at all. This just happened to be in my feed, so that's what you get. But, yeah, you off to worky. All right, see you later on, dude. And, I'm not in my studio today, so I get a bit of noise inside. But whatever. This is more comfortable. So, yeah, we're back to it. This is the original conversation, was that... Just get my little marker thing off the screen. That they were doing cloud seeding. The 25-year-old mullet guy was admitted, and they're not even really hiding it. They're saying it's a coincidence that they happened to flood the place out 2 days later. So they were cloud seeding these areas. The 4 areas in America who just got flooded, all the government pays to have cloud seeding done. And 2 days makes about sense. Like I said, I live near a RAF base, like a Air Force base, very close to it. I can hear them now. If I was quiet, I don't know if my microphone will pick that up, but they're doing like aerial tricks over my house, doing loop-the-loops and shit. And they've always got shit coming out the back of them. Like sometimes it's the colourful stuff because they do. They're like the show-off pilots. Like we house those guys near where I live who do all the loop-de-loopy shit. But again, they spray on farmers' crops. They get paid to spray. All their planes can carry a lot of spray, and there's no doubt that I see many streaks in our sky. And it's about right. 2 days later, it seems to be if they're flying around their jets and there's big white streaks all over the sky when they're finished for the day. About a day to 2 days normally, we'll get rain. We're getting rain today that was unpredicted. I put washing out, a shit ton of washing out, which is really annoying. Put it all out yesterday. It wasn't supposed to rain till this afternoon. But yesterday over, all the crows and all the animals were all going all crazy. And, big storm rolled through. We had massive snow clouds just in the sky, which for where I live on, like, sea level, is quite unusual. And the air is still dropped like 10 degrees to near nothing. And this is Australia. Like, it's crazy. Like, clouds worse than what were on screen were just in my sky. 2 days after, heaps of streaky shit. But, that's a conspiracy, dude. What are you talking about? So it's just everywhere, like, it's just, hey, Gavin. Yeah, it's not something that anyone can deny anymore, but the weird thing is that all you need is one news event and all this just disappears. Like, no one will give a shit about any of this. So they'll already be cooking that up. They'll have their little witches brew going and they'll be talking to each other. What did the boss tell us to do? And I'm talking now the people who apparently run the world will be talking to their bosses saying, what do we do now, mate? And they'll be going, just go and bomb some other guys. I don't know, bomb over there, go bomb them. Then everyone will forget. And they're like, that Epstein thing keeps coming back to haunt me. Yeah, just start another war. Don't worry about it. It makes us all money. We're all good. Don't worry about it. Oh, this is just like sidetracked for 1 sec. So Jeff Bezos, this is yesterday. Yes, yesterday. No, day before. All right. The people who control the world and the billionaires who were given the jobs of being billionaires, they always have to tell you what they do, all right? So Jeff Bezos just sold 666 million in shares. That ain't no coincidence, all right? This guy deliberately sold that amount, the 666. This is in your face. This is 2 days ago. So, around the flooding time, all right? Now, first up, I'm slightly alarmed because that's not a lot for this guy, apparently. But it's a chunk, So 25 million shares, that's what it added up to. I find that concerning because all the rich people are selling a lot of shit at the moment, yet the stock market's not dumping. Like, I would imagine that if you sold that many shares, Amazon shares should go to zero. Like, if the owner is selling the shares, there's a problem, guys, all right? And they tell you what they're doing. Just so happens to say the 666. Just got to. If it wasn't 33, it'll be 666. This shit's in your face, and it's every day. But most people read this and go, oh, yeah, good old Jeff, he made a lot of money. He's a smart guy, that guy. I like this rocket. I like how he put people up into space. That, yeah, good guy. Good for America, good for the world. What a load of bullshit. This guy's just like proven what side of everything he's on. And again, I'm not religious either. I hate politicians, I hate politics, and I hate religions. They're just control mechanisms. And everyone's like, oh, yeah, that's good, yeah. I need that. What would I do without them? This shit's in your face. I just can't. I can't stress enough how annoying it is to read this sort of shit all the time. Yep, there's a reason that figure's there. But yeah, I would personally, if I had shares, I'd be selling them right now. You got, Warren Buffett's out. He's into cash. Bill's selling heaps of his shit. If you look at stocks, like again, I used to play markets and play around with shit. If you look at who's selling at the moment, highly concerning. Again, I don't have any superannuation, which is like a 401. I don't want any of it. If you can't keep making money till the day you die, you're doing it wrong. What is with this retirement shit that everyone does? I'm going to work my prick off till I'm like 60, and then I'll just sit back and prune my roses. That's not good for your brain, dude. Everyone should use their skills and not get jobs. That'll solve a lot of bloody problems in the world. You wouldn't need all the, basic doles and all the stuff to keep all the idiots alive, That's evolution would take care of all this shit. But if people use their skills, did more bartering, did more, cashy, that kind of stuff, we wouldn't be in this position, and people would actually have more worth and probably more esteem, more self-respect and stuff. But going and working in a job you hate for 60 years and then just saying, I'm retiring, what a foolish thing to do, because all your money's invested in the markets, and this shit will affect the markets, like Texas and 4 other states having these massive floods. China's underwater at the moment. Half the world is. Australia was underwater a few weeks ago, Queensland. So this is the Texas footage in the background if you didn't know what you're looking at. Tiny little trickle started. Tiny little trickle. I'll just get back to it because I know I talk too much shit. Just get back to it. Right, little creek. Nothing going on. Courtesy of the footage, only used for educational purposes for whoever filmed it. Some dude on a bridge. Look at this. The creek was dry. This is the beginning of that Texas flood. I know it's the most popular one in the media, but so be it. Look at that shit. That's like, you could almost surf that thing. The beginning wave is, and it gets big real quick. So 30 seconds in, the banks are gone. Like that water is unstoppable. It is a mighty force. And for stupid little humans, very stupid little humans, to be playing with this shit, stop, and then turn around and blame us every time. Blame the normal citizens for their cow meat farting or whatever. God damn it. And one volcano goes off. That's like more than 100 years of our destruction. But I'm not denying that people are destructive. I think we're more stupid than destructive. The destruction's just, that's the outcome of being stupid. So I'll wrap this one up in a minute. I think I've said enough shit. But, I feel sorry for the families too. Condolences to all the families who lost people in this kind of silly behaviour that goes on. And Personally, if I lost anyone to a flood like this, I'd be out the front of my MP. I'd start with my local MP and I'd be kicking his door in until he was listening to me. And then I'd go to the media and I'd be doing something. I'd be pretty pissed off, just like the COVID thing. If my family members were all falling off the planet, I'd be pretty pissed off. But, you know, if they weren't so stupid and could think for themselves, all this shit wouldn't happen, you know. And again, this is our taxpayer money funding all this cloud seeding and all this shit. So we can stop this, you know, literally. You know, there's a point where, you know, the only way to stop this dumb shit is for everyone to just stop going to work. Just everyone just go, nah, not doing it. I'm not paying the tax for these clowns. You know, why should I be paying for the destruction of myself? It doesn't make sense. But, you know, people are weak. They need to be controlled. It's some psychological mishap that goes on in our brains from a long time ago where I think, again, 90% of the population, they need control because they wouldn't know what to do otherwise, and they need the government to function or they wouldn't know how to live. And it's pretty pathetic. So maybe this is just evolution taking care of all that. I don't know. And so be it at the end of the day. You know, there's enough people on the planet that, you know, maybe it's the best. Maybe it is for the best. But anyway, guys, I think I'll wrap that up. I've actually got to go and do stuff. I just thought I'd get on and have a little rave. And I heard that YouTube's going to not hold lives anymore, that I think they go away after 30 days. And I also was reading this morning that they're going to demonetize AI videos, which is actually really good. Like, I use AI a bit just for background stuff and whatever, but yeah, I think all that's pretty out of hand now. It's just getting a bit silly, and you know, but at the same time, the governments are pushing to make it not illegal to do deep fakes and all this kind of stuff. It's pretty crazy old world we live in. But don't let me get you down, because that's not what I do. I actually love life, and I actually have a really good life. So, you know, it's not that hard to do. And I think my main points would be keep it simple, stupid. Control everything yourself. Empower yourself. Educate yourself. And find your real skill. Stop working for other people doing nothing, because 90% of jobs aren't needed. And you're about to see that. AI is going to take over most people's jobs. And it's not AI, the evil AI. It's that most people are doing useless shit that's not needed, and probably doing it at a very slow pace at that. And most people don't make anything and they don't contribute. So it is what it is. But again, empower yourself and try to do things you enjoy doing and find your skills. And when you find your skills, life's easy. You know, stop doing shit you don't want to do. I know that sounds easy. It's not. I think it's all this shit's a bit of a journey for everyone, and can take a long time for some people to wake up to the journey. Most people, maybe it's too late. But at the end of the day, I'm not here to doom it. I'm just saying shit that I'm seeing, and a few of my opinions that don't really matter. It doesn't really matter what I say, and I always enjoy, a bit of conversation with people and talking about topics of old and new. So anyway, I'll let that one go. I'm going to go get a cup of tea or something. I hope everyone has a good day, and I might see you on the next one. I do like doing my little crazy ones. Like, I'd call this one a little bit crazy, even though it's pretty factual. It's something I enjoy doing if I've got the time, and when I've got the time, I'll do. So if you like anything I do, I don't like pleading for shit, but subscribe just for your own sake, so you can see the kind of shit I do, because I will be doing more of it. I have a few crazy things I do, like I'm about to start a podcast, which I do from my spa, or hot tub as some people would know them as. And we talk about lots of crazy shit, but most of what me and my missus do online is actually empowerment. We're in natural health, which doesn't mean I'm a hippie. I'm pretty sure you can see I'm no hippie. But our skills are in health and helping people, that kind of thing. And a lot of people say I'm just the crazy nut or whatever, which is fine. I've got really thick skin, so I don't care what people think of me. No drama there. But, we deal with a lot of people every day. We're a booked out clinic. We work for ourselves and have done forever. And we're as busy as you could be. So, a lot of the things I say about other people are kind of true without being rude to people, because, if I had a choice, I'd probably live in a cave and just be chilling, but you can't do that. So, I don't mean to be insulting to people, but it's just how I see a lot of things going on. And yeah, so on the podcast we're about to start, they're more about, empowerment stuff, but not airy-fairy versions, not like, yeah, man, just meditate on a hill and burn the incense and the world's going to be better and read Buddha. Yeah. No, it's nothing about that. It's probably more psychological than anything. And it's a lot of the lessons we've learned in our life. So if you like anything that sounds like anything crazy like that, throw in a sub. Don't care about likes, and I care more about subs of people who are interested in what I produce and what I talk about, because I don't care about how many subs I get or whatever. I'm not fixated on numbers. I don't even care about monetization. That shit just seems dumb. I don't like watching shit with ads. It's boring and annoying, and if that's how you make your money, good on you. But again, not my scene. If I've got information, I'll give it for free. It's it is what it is, and we make enough money out of doing our skills. I don't need to be getting small change from YouTube or whoever. It just doesn't faze me. So anyway, I think I've yapped enough. Normal people probably lose their voice about now, but I can do this 24 hours if I had to. But anyway, I hope all you guys have a